Welcome to our series, Moving America Forward. Each week we'll be focusing on America's entrepreneurs as they take us to new roads, new opportunities, new ways to fill the gaps left by today's failing companies. Our series will be looking at that and a lot more. So come with me and watch as the entrepreneurs of our nation move into the future.
And I'm Doug Llewellyn here in our studios in Los Angeles with our guests today who are from a company called Talon Innovations Corporation, which is located near Minneapolis in Minnesota. This is a story of a highly integrated machining company which, quite frankly, does much more than a typical machine shop, as you're going to learn. It's a rather amazing story, to say the least. I'd like you to meet our guests now. First, here on my left is the CEO of the company, Greg Olson. On his left is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Marty Dertinger, and Michelle Squire, who's the Vice President of Human Relations. Folks, nice to have you with us.
Thank you.
Indeed, it's a pleasure. You know, I want to point out, Greg, a little while ago, you had a chance to answer some questions from William Shatner. Let's take a quick look at a portion of that now to see just how that went and learn a little bit about the company from that respect, okay? So let's watch.
While you're here, I have one important question for you. We all know how important manufacturing is to America, but what role do you play in this industry, and how does it help to move America forward?
Mr. Shatner, what we do is manufacture solutions for the semiconductor, medical, aerospace, and industrial markets. We're unique because we do nearly everything in-house, from precision machining to welding. We create jobs and products that shape the world we live in. And that, Mr. Shatner, is how we are helping to move America forward.
You know, that's very interesting, Greg. As you pointed out to Mr. Shatner, you do basically everything in-house. Let's talk about a little bit about what that means. When you say everything in-house, what are we really talking about?
Well, primarily our business our core business is machining.
Right.
Precision, complex machining. But we've grown to be much more than that in offering what I call a one-stop shopping opportunity for our customers. So we do machining, and we do all the steps after that, such as chemical cleaning, surface treatments. We'll do welding, we'll do passivation and electrical polish, and we'll do assembly. We'll package it in a clean room for ultra-high purity. And so we've combined a lot of steps that usually many other vendors would participate in.
Right.
And we brought it all under one roof. And really the benefit is that, most importantly, we're in control of all the quality at all those steps, versus having 6 or 7 cooks in the kitchen. We take control of the quality. Secondly is we reduce all those logistical lead times between all those steps, between different companies or even different parts of the country.
Right.
And so we condense the delivery time down, and what that does is it reduces costs. So the benefits to our customers are it's cheaper, it's faster, and most importantly, it's the highest quality possible.
I wanted to point out, I know you mentioned briefly, but you specialize in doing things for the semiconductor industry, really a lot there. You focus on the medical industry, you create products, aerospace, and then general industrial, I guess would be the way to put it, markets that you focus on. We have some items here on the desk. Let me point out this first item that looks like a gigantic screw. If our cameras can get a picture of that, it's pretty typical of the kind of thing you do. You want to explain, Marty, you want to explain what this is and how it works, what it's for?
Sure. It's actually used in capturing flue gas from a smokestack, and it takes the volatiles, the pollutants, out of it while it turns solidified CO2 at about minus 220 degrees Fahrenheit. So,
and what industry would this, the application be for?
It's actually in power generation.
One other key thing that I understand is really unique. You have a pretty large team of guys, right? And girls, ladies, men and women. But when you're handed a project, you build teams. You put teams on these projects that can expand what the initial assignment was for you, so that you're delivering in the end, you're delivering a lot more value to the client. Give me an example of how that would work.
Well, typically in a typical machining request, a client would say, "Here, please build a part to this drawing."
Right.
And a lot of machining companies would build that part, but Talon, we take it as an opportunity to learn more about the application that it's in. And our engineering group ends up talking to their engineering group, and we co-design, co-engineer things that we end up changing the request. We tell them how they could have made it better, more cost efficient, more manufacturable, and then we find out what is this thing connected to, and maybe we can do that as well. And long story short, what happens is typically we change the request for one part into an assembly of 6 or 7 parts that include all kinds of technologies, you know, tubing, welding, machining, valves, all sorts of things like that.
My role is to actually go find new potential opportunities and customers to bring these capabilities. This is just one example of a machine part that we did for power generation. I actually co-engineered with their engineers and came up with a pretty good solution. But what's really at display here is our capabilities, because this has unique geometries, it's complex, it takes machining, cleaning, polishing, but it all starts with the engineering. So it's my job to actually go find a potential opportunity and a problem and connect our engineers with their engineers so we can find a solution. What's interesting about the customer that brought this opportunity to us is they didn't bring this one to us. They came to us because we could machine special alloys.
Yeah.
So we solved that problem for them, but then they said, wait a minute, you have CNC tube bending, automated tube bending capabilities, and that's a condenser for fermentation process in pharmaceutical manufacturing.
Right.
They actually gave us a drawing of 4 individual coils that are much smaller than that one, and but the problem was those 4 different coils was not manufacturable even on our state-of-the-art bender.
Really?
So our engineer worked with their engineer, made sure that the surface area was correct, made sure that the thermal transfer and actually to create the condensation that was required, and they came up with a solution that was better for them in the long run because they could actually put a cleaning ball in the center.
One of the strategies we have is a build it and they will come strategy, meaning that, you know, lead times, when a customer wants a part, they want it in, you know, a very short time period.
Yeah.
Well, if you wait till you get that request to go buy the equipment you need to make that, well, the equipment could take 6 months to get here.
Exactly.
They want it delivered in 2 weeks. So we've taken the risk to invest in lots of very expensive capital equipment, you know, $1 million machines that do this sort of thing ahead of time with like I mentioned earlier, the build it and they will come, and they've come because we have the capability. We call our Talon TMS system, and Talon TMS stands for Talon Modular System. What that really is a method to distribute the flow of fluids or gases in a process. So what you see here is there's several inputs and there's several outputs.
Yeah.
And the benefits of this are, if you compare it to what would be traditional plumbing, a lot of tubing and valves and fittings, it would take up about 4 times the amount of space that you see on this panel.
Really?
And what this does is it's all modular, so it's very configurable, so you can change the fluid paths any way you want. And it's very condensed, lightweight, low footprint, and it's very maintainable. If one of these components goes bad or needs maintenance over the years, it's very easily replaceable versus a traditional plumbing job would be to cut things up and replace them and weld them and all that.
This is a typical example of your kind of engineering prowess and development. Let me ask you, simply, how would you describe what sets you apart from other kind of machining businesses in this industry?
Well, there's 2 things, and it's really, you know, we have 20-something years of machining experience.
Right.
We have machining gurus, and so we can tackle machining jobs. They're ultra high precision, very tight tolerances, and very complex alloys of metals. And so we're superior machinists, but really what sets us apart is all that vertical integration, all those other processes that we can offer under one roof that is true benefits to the customer.